Have you ever wondered? If you could leave just one thing behind for your children, one true legacy, what would it be? Land? Stocks? Gold? Cash? What if I told you none of that truly matters? Welcome to Prosperity Magic, where we decode the secrets of wealth, power, and influence one video at a time. And today, I'm not just sharing information. I'm handing you the key to a hidden world, an ancient strategy known only to emperors, warlords, and elite businessmen. If you're ready to see reality in a way 80% of people can't stomach, then stay with me till the end. What you're about to hear may shake your beliefs, but it might also set you free. If I could pass down only one asset to my descendants, it wouldn't be land, stocks, gold, or cash. It would be something far more powerful. Something I discovered through pain, awakening, and clarity. I would pass on the Emperor's strategy. The Emperor's strategy. Because even if my children inherited nothing, not a coin in their pocket, with this strategy in hand, they could command influence, attract wealth, gain respect, and hold real power. And I'm not the only one who believes this. The richest man in Hong Kong, Li Ka-shing, left only a single quote to his children. A famous Chinese statesman, Zhang Guofan, did the same. One said, "Grandfather told me to be a merciful lion." The other, "Have a heart of a bodhisattva, but strike like thunder." Different words, same principle, be kind but with strategy. These aren't just poetic sayings. They are fragments of a system. A system once reserved only for emperors and elite families. Let me tell you what most people don't know. Every successful businessman I've met, every tycoon I've observed knows this system. But they'll never talk about it. You only hear whispers from the lips of their sons and daughters, those born into velvet and silk. Watch closely and you'll see. From childhood, we're only taught how to deal with kind people. No teacher ever tells us how to survive the cunning, the cruel, the manipulators. No one teaches you how to face a smiling snake. That's why the kind are often trampled. As the saying goes, the good are bullied by people but not by heaven. The wicked are feared by people but not by heaven. And yet, so many misinterpret that. They think heaven helps the good and punishes the wicked. But the truth is heaven doesn't interfere. It doesn't play favorites. It lets all things flow naturally. As the Tao Te Ching says, heaven and earth are ruthless. They treat all things like straw dogs. It's brutal but fair. If heaven had emotions, the universe would collapse from sentimentality. When I started in business, I was shocked. The powerful? They scheme, deceive, even bleed the poor dry, and they thrive. They live long. They eat well. They date the most beautiful women. They have empires, homes, and heirs. Why? Because they understand a truth most reject. In this world, goodness alone isn't enough. When disaster strikes, it doesn't choose between good and evil. Everyone suffers. So here's the real secret. Kindness must be paired with strategy. Without it, goodness becomes naivety. You don't need to stab others, but you do need to have thorns. Otherwise, you'll bleed for someone else's ambition. This video, 80% of viewers will reject it. Only 20%, the true seekers, the masters in training, will understand. If this is your first time hearing about the Emperor's strategy, you may feel discomfort, even resistance. That's good. It means your awakening has begun. The truth often hurts before it heals. And the more you study this, the more addicted you'll become, not to cruelty, but to clarity. To understanding the raw, unfiltered rules of human nature. Because what you hate may be exactly what you're missing. At Prosperity Magic, we don't offer illusions. We share tools. Mental frameworks for entrepreneurs, investors, and those chasing true freedom, not fantasy. If you're serious about rewriting your destiny, if you want to break free from the herd and master the silent power games of life, hit the like button. Subscribe. You're not alone on this journey. Let me share a truth very few people understand. Whether you're an emperor leading armies or a modern-day entrepreneur building an empire, you must first attract people before you attract wealth. Most think, if I have money, I'll attract people. Wrong. You get people first, then money comes. Not the other way around. That's why the first lesson in the Emperor's strategy is this: cultivate personal magnetism. True charisma. You'll hear 1,000 videos online talking about charisma, but none of them can teach you how to have it. Only the Emperor's way can. And the first rule? Cold face. Soft heart. Because nearly every broken relationship begins with failed expectations. You treat someone too well, they take it for granted. You show the slightest distance, they feel betrayed. Do you understand how dangerous that is? Being too kind can turn you into a slave of others' expectations. You must master emotional boundaries. Let me tell you a story that woke me up. A top celebrity in Singapore's beauty industry once found out about a poor boy living in the mountains who couldn't afford school. Moved by compassion, he sponsored that boy's university for 4 years. During those years, the boy lived lavishly, wasted money, and even dropped out to chase romance. When the celebrity learned the truth, he immediately cut off the support. But then the unthinkable happened. The boy, who was once given everything, turned on him. He wrote a scathing article to destroy his benefactor's reputation. The media pounced. Public outrage exploded. The one who helped became the villain. That's when I realized 100 minus 1 equals 0. One act of disappointment erases 100 acts of kindness in the eyes of the ungrateful. When your kindness fails to meet expectations, you're not met with sympathy. You're met with anger, betrayal, and blame. So what can you do? Be good, but not naive. Have a heart, but shield it with strategy. Build influence, not with force, but with character. The emperor's strategy isn't about domination. It's about understanding. Understanding people, patterns, power, and ultimately yourself. This is prosperity magic. And if what you heard today resonates, then maybe, just maybe, you were meant to be one of the 20%. The few who don't just survive the game of life, but master it. Stay sharp. Think deeper. And I'll see you in the next video. In the previous part, we uncovered a painful truth that pure kindness without strategy is not only ineffective, it can even be dangerous. But what if I told you that people's ingratitude runs deeper than you imagined? Let's keep going. The journey into human nature has just begun. Human nature can be far darker than we dare to believe. Feed a dog for 3 days, and it will remember you for 3 years. Treat a human kindly for 3 years, and they might forget it all in 3 days. Imagine this. One day you are the emperor, generously rewarding your ministers with land and riches. Every morning your court sings your praises. But the day you only give them silver instead of gold, whispers begin. Resentment brews. Some will even turn against you. Why? Because the deepest betrayals often come from those who once received your greatest kindness. They don't want to feel guilty for turning their backs on you. So they must find a reason. Blame you, twist the story, paint themselves as the victim. They must make you wrong, so they can feel right. That's why the emperor's strategy teaches us to flip the script. If you've been broke for years, change your values, change your behaviors. Turn your mindset upside down. That simple shift? It's more powerful than any investment strategy. Because once you master this reversal, you'll already surpass 80% of those around you. Ever noticed how many wealthy people come across as a bit unapproachable? Cold? Even slightly intimidating? It's not an accident. They intentionally lower others' expectations of them. Then, only occasionally, they show a small act of kindness. And that, my friend, makes people feel deeply moved. Wow, they think. This tough person showed me respect. That means something. But if a normally kind person suddenly turns cold, that same act becomes a betrayal. Why? Because it shattered the expectation. From emperors of ancient dynasties to today's tycoons, the lesson is clear. If you want to climb the pyramid, you need your own unique attitude. I might treat you to a $1,000 dinner. I might share a $2,000 bottle of wine with you. But if you owe me $100, you must repay it. That's not about money. That's about respect. If I say, choose a dish and then go fetch me a bottle of water and you obey, that water loses all value. Your compliance becomes expected, automatic, insignificant. And the moment you stop, they'll resent you for it. Why? Because you taught them that you're easy to use. You conditioned them to see you as lesser. So don't blame others for taking advantage of you. You were the one signaling, I'm weak. Come take advantage. Every time they pushed your limits, you said, yes, I'll still smile. The first law of the emperor's strategy is simple. Never do what people casually ask you to do. Especially peers, friends, coworkers, equals. When they ask, don't comply. You might wonder, but what about my boss? I have to obey, right? Wrong question. The emperor's strategy is not about being a servant. It's about rising above. It's about becoming someone others must respect, not someone they can command. If you live for others, you're not truly living. If you exist just to serve an employer, you've given up the right to talk about life. Still here? Still listening? Then you're different. It means your mind is already reaching upward. I won't teach you how to serve. I'll teach you how to own, how to lead, how to build something of your own. In today's mobile internet age, people are slipping deeper into the digital world. And where the people go, the money follows. Even if you're broke, even if you have no connections, no capital, no name, you can still build something right now sitting in front of your laptop. In fact, our profit potential far surpasses traditional business. Why? Because our operating costs are close to zero. We don't rent storefronts. We build attention. And here's another truth, giving only holds value when it comes from your own will. Not from pressure. Not from guilt. If I give to you, it's because I choose to. Not because you demanded it. That's what makes it sacred. If someone pressures you into giving and you give in, they won't thank you. They'll just think you're soft, weak, easy. But when you start saying no, when you begin defending yourself, something changes. People suddenly respect you. They tread carefully. They stop trying to use you. Trying to please everyone? That's not a life. That's slavery. You don't need to be loved by all. Just love those who love you. And let everyone else fade into the background. The second great law of the emperor's strategy. Only two types of people preach morality all day. The extremely wealthy and the deeply powerless. The poor. They've been hurt so much that they retreat into fantasy. They imagine a peaceful world, a moral utopia. They teach virtue to escape pain. But weakness is still weakness. Have you ever seen a truly powerful person in history who was completely innocent? Not once. The poor deny what I say not because they disagree, but because they know they're too weak to apply it. They fear others will use this knowledge against them. So they leave comments warning others not to learn it. They weaponize morality to suppress power. But in truth, they are the ones most vulnerable. The saddest part? They lose and don't even understand why. They forgive their enemies out of weakness, not wisdom. It's like a mouse forgiving the cat as it's being eaten. They think they're wise. But the rich? The powerful? We see through it all. That's why we, those who understand, actually encourage morality. We use it to keep the weak in check. We talk about ethics, compassion, and justice. So they think, wow, even the rich talk about morals. They must be good people. Then when the time comes, we harvest. And they forgive us. Let me give you an example. When cosmetics first emerged, people protested, they'll lead men to commit assault. They tried to ban them. But we, entrepreneurs, defended cosmetics. On the grounds of morality. We said, women have the right to feel beautiful. And we won. Do you ban knives just because some people use them to kill? No. In the hands of the good, a knife saves lives. Even Buddhism, which teaches compassion above all, speaks of Guanyin, the bodhisattva of mercy. She appears in many forms, some beautiful, some terrifying, some with fierce, demonic faces. Why? Because mercy alone isn't enough in this world. Sometimes, darkness must be used to destroy greater evil. Even the divine needs strategy. If you've stayed this far, I know you're not average. You're not just watching. You're transforming. You're evolving. If you found value today, help this message grow. White heavy check mark, like this video, white heavy check mark, leave a comment. Tell me what resonated most, white heavy check mark, subscribe to the Prosperity Magic channel, because the more we share truth, the more we disrupt the lies. And if the world belongs to the strong, then it's time you become one of them. In the last section, we explored the hard truths of power, betrayal, and the psychology of kindness. Now, let's go even deeper into the brutal mechanics behind influence, survival, and the unfiltered rules of the world. Brace yourself, because what comes next is not for the faint of heart. For the gentle-hearted, Buddhist wisdom can work wonders. But for the truly wicked, compassion alone often fails. Sometimes, the only language evil understands is thunder and steel. In recent years, there's been a surge of interest in what's called dark psychology, a concept popularized under the term Ho-Hei. But let me be clear, this is merely a branch of the ancient emperor's strategy. Ordinary people often feel uncomfortable when they read it. But the elites? The masters? They may criticize it outwardly, but in private they obsess over it. They use these tactics to rise to the top of the food chain. So, what is Ho-Hei? In its simplest form, thick skin, dark tactics. It doesn't mean becoming evil. It means being good with strategy. It means being kind with power. You must aim to be a good person who also holds wealth and influence. Not just a good person. If you want to build a business, create wealth, or rise in your career, mastering this is not optional. It's essential. Want to understand this better? Just read Romance of the Three Kingdoms once. Focus on two men, Cao Cao and Liu Bei. From Cao Cao, learn ruthless strategy. From Liu Bei, learn how to win hearts. Cao Cao is the man I respect most. He mastered two things: brutal tactics and emotional manipulation. When faced with decisions involving power, he never hesitated. He killed even those who once saved him, like the famous Dr. Hua Tuo and the respected Confucian Kong Rong. Why? Because he believed. I would rather betray the world than let the world betray me. To the weak, Cao Cao seems like a villain. But his response? Yesterday, the world misunderstood me. Today, they still misunderstand me. Maybe tomorrow, too. But I remain who I am. That line shook me to my core. Only the wealthy understand this kind of dominance. Cao Cao is not evil. In the chaos of the Eastern Han dynasty, death was everywhere. And when one man died, it wasn't just his life, it was the fall of his family. Sometimes an entire region. Survival meant carrying the lives of many on your back. In those times, if you could raise an army, you dreamed of being emperor. Warfare was constant. If you lost today, your soldiers and possessions became someone else's. That's why Cao Cao used hardline emperor tactics, not just to conquer, but to impose order, to end chaos, to protect the people. And Liu Bei? Everyone calls him righteous and moral, but few know his true strength, shamelessness and tears. When trapped, he would cry bitterly, plead with others through appeals to virtue. In one moment of pity, someone lent him Jing province, and even gave him their sister in marriage. But once he turned around, he never gave Jing province back. Was that loyalty? Righteousness? Not quite. That's why you must keep your fangs hidden. Smile, laugh, be friendly. But when it's time, strike. Talk morals when things are easy. Talk tactics when it matters. Only then can you survive. So what is the emperor's strategy, really? The third lesson is one that shakes the foundations of what most people believe. It may offend some, but I say it anyway, because I want those who once lived in the bottom of society, like I did, to hear truths that no one else dares to speak. Sun Tzu said, "All warfare is based on deception." So ask yourself, do you really believe the politicians, celebrities, and rich people on your screen never lie? Even a child under 3 can lie. Growing up means learning when to reveal and when to conceal. Everyone lies. It's survival. Animals disguise themselves in nature. Humans do the same with words. One study shows the average adult lies 1 to 3 times per day. Often to their spouse. 90% admit to regular lying. And 20% say they feel uncomfortable if they go a whole day without it. In college conversations, 1 in every 3 exchanges involves a lie. If ordinary people lie, imagine how much the rich do. So why not master the art? Why not learn to lie like a professional? If you want financial freedom, study the con men. You heard me right. Learn from the con artists. Learn their tactics, their personalities, even their vision. But don't break the law. We don't embrace evil. We study their strengths. Even Confucius said, there is a way even in deception. First, vision. Real con artists know who their targets are. Most amateurs try to sell to everyone. But con artists? They separate buyers from time wasters in seconds. They don't flatter customers. They don't grovel. If you bow too low, the client assumes you're desperate. That lowers your value. And once you're beneath them, it's nearly impossible to sell. Second, emotional stability. Many salespeople crumble after rejection. They lie to themselves. Just keep going. The next one will say yes. That's fantasy. The pros? They don't waste time. If one trick fails, they switch immediately. They don't stop until they succeed. Their mindset is far more stable. Third, the execution. When meeting a client, if you act too humble, they'll think you need them. You lose power. You'll lose the sale. And that's just the beginning. If you found today's lesson insightful, let me know in the comments. If you're bold enough to face reality, if you want to rise above and truly master the game of wealth, subscribe to Prosperity Magic now. Because what's coming next goes even deeper. We've seen how the masters of manipulation, con artists, strategists, and warriors understand human psychology better than anyone. But now we enter the final stretch of this journey. And if you've made it this far, you're already among the few who dare to think differently. True con artists position themselves as valuable from the very beginning. They elevate their own worth while simultaneously lowering the perceived value of their target. The result? The victim loses control. They feel dependent. They feel desperate. And they forget they ever had a choice. These manipulators don't just trick people, they understand people. And if you're in business, if you want to sell, to lead, to influence, then understanding human nature is non-negotiable. Without this knowledge, it doesn't matter how great your product is. It doesn't matter how noble your mission is. It doesn't matter how good your intentions are. You simply won't make money. The best manipulators are master psychologists. They see your greed. They see your fear. And they guide your decisions step by step until you give them exactly what they want. You know what's wild? The language of great marketers and con artists is almost identical. The only difference? One is legal. The other is criminal. Next lesson. Learn from their learning spirit. Most people fail not because they're not smart, but because they stop learning. This world isn't short on intelligence. It's short on adaptability. When one trick stops working, a true con artist doesn't complain, they evolve. Immediately. 10 years ago, traditional business was reaching saturation. The first people who pivoted to e-commerce became millionaires. Yeah? Even e-commerce is peaking. Humanity is shifting toward emotional spending. That's why personal branding, self-media, and digital entrepreneurship are the future. And the timeless truth? What you hate is often what you need. What you love is often what you don't. Let me ask you, do you like black coffee without sugar? That bitter, harsh taste? Do you enjoy beer? Raw oysters? Cigarettes? Durian? Many people love those things now. But most hated them at first. They were hard to swallow. They were disgusting. But the more they tasted them, the more addicted they became. Why? Because hidden in that bitterness was a new kind of pleasure. These things aren't for children. You'd never give a child black coffee or beer. Why? Because their taste buds are immature. They only like what's sweet. But adults? Our tastes evolve. We learn to enjoy sour, bitter, pungent, even stinky flavors. So here's the message, if you're an adult, your mental palate should evolve too. Don't be a grown-up with a child's mindset. If you believe human nature is only good, if you reject its darkness, you're still living in a fairy tale. Many people, even at 30, can't accept the cruelty of the real world. They hide behind endless talk of ethics and kindness. But that's like claiming only sweet food is good. Real adults? They savor the bitter, the sour, the spicy, and even the rotten. Don't be afraid of toxic ideas. Sometimes the most toxic thoughts contain the most profound truths. When you can accept selfishness, ugliness, and cruelty as part of the human experience, only then will you begin to taste the full flavor of the Emperor's wisdom. And with that, we conclude today's video. Everything I share is free. It's for those who want to rise from zero to success. From confusion to clarity. From wage slave to financially free. If you don't want to miss what's next, please subscribe to the Prosperity Magic channel. Tap the notification bell. And share this video with those ready to hear the truth. To all of you who liked this video, I wish you nothing less than freedom, wealth, and peace. And if even one sentence today made your life better, then everything I've done was worth it. Until next time, stay sharp, stay awake, and keep rising.